computer. Okay, so the reason this is the final academic seminar is because your test is on Monday. It's one of the first subject areas to be tested. We're like first in line. So what I was just saying is I was just talking about the calculator. So this is, let me unblur my screen, my video. This is the calculator that I have on the announcements page. It's a TI-30XA. TI-30XA. I bought this one this morning from Walmart for $10 and change, so it's not going to break the bank. You don't have to, Zaya, but I wanted you to have it in front of you just so it would simulate like what you're going to have the day of the test. That's why I wanted you to have it in front of you. Okay, so this calculator, you are not going to be allowed to bring a calculator. Okay, you're not. You're not going to be allowed to bring one. But this is the calculator that we are going to give you. So when you come for testing on Monday, you're going to be given pencils, or you can bring your own pencils. That part's okay. But you're also going to be given a calculator to be used in any and all sections of the test. This is the one that you're going to have in front of you. So that's why this is the one that I want you to practice with, because then we can figure out, you know, all the bells and whistles. You're not going to be able to bring anything. So you're going to be given a reference sheet. Okay? You're going to be given a calculator. You're going to be given a reference sheet. You're going to be given scratch paper. You're going to be given pencils unless you bring your own. You're allowed to bring your own pencils, but that's about the only thing that you're allowed to bring of your own. Yes, Christopher?
When is the day of the test?
Monday.
Monday, May 1st?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and if you don't have an email with information about it, check your email and look for Miss Thomas's name. So look for Sandra Thomas, because she sent an email out at the beginning of April, and it has the date and the times for both math and language arts, I think.
Oh, okay, because one thing I got, it says, English language arts course with my teacher on Monday, May 1st, 20:30 p.m.
Yeah, that's
So is
math
it
though.
really?
Yeah, math is May 1st. Language arts, I think, is later in the week.
Oh, well, I might have to contact her about that.
Yeah, yeah, definitely do. So you guys search in your, not right now, but you can search in your email from Miss Thomas. Yes, Eric?
Why do we need to bring a pencil if it's on the computer?
Because you may want to write some things down. You may want to work problems out on paper, right? Because some of the problems you're going to want to like solve an equation or do a conversion, you're going to need to write. So the pencil is the only thing that you're allowed to bring of your own. Other than that, everything has to be given to you. And actually, if you've never been for testing with us before, when you come into your testing room, you're going to leave all of your stuff in the front of the room, because you can't even have your stuff like next to you. Okay? It's okay if you don't have any pencils. We will give you pencils. I'm just saying that that's the only thing that you could bring of your own if you wanted to, but you don't have to. We'll have pencils for everybody. You're going to be in a classroom. So the way that they're doing it is they have split my students up into 3 groups. I have a group of students who test earlier in the day, and then the rest of you will test in the afternoon and will be split up into 2 classrooms. I will be in one of the classrooms, but they don't tell me which one. Last year they had me at the beginning of the alphabet. This year, I don't know, the end of the alphabet, I have no idea. They let me know when I get there. All right, so if you are a student who has either a 504 plan or you have extended time, then you're going to get there earlier in the day. and check your email. I think it's 12 or 12:30, something like that, but check your email. And then if you do not get extended time and you do not have a 504, then you get the regular time allotment and then you get there in the afternoon. But again, check your emails for the times because you got an email specific to your situation. So I don't want to like say be there at this time and then that's not the right time for you. So check your email from Miss Thomas because that has the times. Let me check the chat. Yeah, so it used to be called the Florida State Assessment, and now they call it the Florida Assessment of Student Thinking. They changed the name. But they also did change some of the standards. Let me see. Yep, civics. You guys have civics. All right, I think I answered all the questions. Yes, LA and math are different days. Language arts and math. Gianna?
I wanted to ask if when we take the test, the calculator they give us will it be a virtual calculator on the computer or an actual physical calculator like the one I bought?
Great question. Both.
Both?
So you will have access to the online calculator that's in the testing system, the one that we used a little bit, but you will also be given a calculator, this calculator.
Do they work any different or are they pretty much the same calculator?
Good question too. They work the same, except this calculator does fractions.
Oh, okay.
That calculator, the one that's in the online system, it does fractions, but it won't give you the answer in fraction form. It will only give you decimal answers. So even if you put in 1/4 plus 1/3, it will give you the answer as a decimal, not as a fraction. This will give it to you. This I'm going to show you today, but there's a button on this calculator where you can just go back and forth between fraction and decimal.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. There's also a button that does percents for you. So that's helpful. All right, so let's get started. I'm going to try something here and hopefully it works. I'm going to enter the Zoom session on my phone. And so this is the calculator that you're going to be given, Isabella. So if you have a Casio, you can practice with that one, but this is the one you're going to be given. The one that I've had on the announcements page, this is the one that you'll be using. It probably does a lot of the same things as the Casio, but the buttons may be a little different. Okay. All right, so I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to join Zoom on my phone so that I can aim my phone at the calculator because we're going to start off working with the calculator. Oh no, wrong one. Oh, I think that's me. I'm going to put no audio and I'm going to stay a co-host. All right, so let's see. Right now you see my ceiling. Let me flip this around. Oh no, you guys. Hold on. Hi, now you see me twice. Okay. There we go. Okay. All right, so I think this will work. And I think if you double click on the little box where you see my calculator, I think that'll make it bigger. Or you can pin it, and I think that will make it bigger. All right, so let me go to a few things. So I actually went online and looked up the guide for this calculator. So let me share my screen with you. And it actually does more than I even knew about. So I'm glad I looked it up. Okay, so let's start with this. So let me view slideshow. Okay, so on the left side of the screen are all the things that we can do with percents. right? So let me put this over here. Hold on a second, you guys. I want to make sure I can still see both screens. Okay. So on the left is all the things you can do with percents. So where we've been finding 5% of 250, the normal way we would find, let me go back, where we would find 5% of 250 is we would convert this 5% to 0.05, right? Convert it to a decimal, and then we would multiply by 250. You can still do that, or you can practice, you can put it in the calculator, you can put in 250 times 5%. So 250, right? And then times, and then here's the thing. Do you see the percent sign? It's above the 5. Let me see if I can zoom in. Oh, my camera doesn't want to focus. But you see it, right? It's above the 5. There's a percent sign there. So in order to get to that percent sign, you have to hit this second function key up here. So you hit second and then percent. And then equals? No, let's try that again. So 250 times 5. Oh, I didn't do the 5. Times 5 second function percent equals. And there it is, 12.5. All right, so let's try that again. Let's try it with another problem. Let's find, I don't know, 17%.
Excuse me, Miss Vargas.
Yes.
On my calculator, the percent key is the number 2, not 5.
Oh, okay. But you have to still hit the second button?
Yeah,
Okay. All right, does it still work the same?
yeah, it does. But
Okay.
it's on the 2 and not the 5. 5 is scientific, I think, is what that stands for. It says
Oh,
S.
okay. Yeah, I see Maddie saying the same thing. Okay,
That way on her.
that's all right. As long as it works the same, then we're good. All right, so then let's try 17% of 50, right? So I'm gonna do 50 first, 50 times, and then I'm gonna do 17%, and then hit equals. All right, and I got 8.5 looks like. Let's do one more. Let's do one that I can do in my head too. Let's do 15% of 30. 15% of 30. So that's going to be 30 times 15% equals 4.5. All right, so are we good with that first thing, the percents? Yes, Gianna.
Where's the second button on the calculator? I can't find it.
It should be the upper left.
Oh yeah, I see it now.
It
Okay,
should be right there, yeah.
thank you.
You're welcome. All right, so now this next one is kind of weird. I don't know that you would really need this, but it's saying like if you wanted to take the ratio of 250 over 5 and convert it into a percent. So if we did 250 divided by 5 and then hit percent, so second percent equals, I didn't get that same thing. Let's see, let's try again. So 250 divided by 5, second function, percent
Miss Vargas,
equals, yes.
will this paper be on the test?
No, it will not. That's why we're talking about it, because this I got online. It's just the guide that comes with the calculator.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's not, this one doesn't seem to be working the same. Did anyone get the same thing for ratio? It seems kind of a weird thing to even want to do, but I'll put my glasses on.
Miss
So let's try.
Vargas,
Yes.
just do me a favor and press the 2 key when you put in an equation.
Yeah,
Because like at
try
the
it.
top of the calculator, it says scientific.
Right,
Like-
and in order to do that, you
Oh.
gotta turn your calculator off. So turn your calculator off.
Oh, you
turn
know
it
what,
back
you
on.
guys? I'm so sorry. Yeah, I was in. Thank you, Charlotte. It is
You're
above the
welcome.
2. I didn't have my glasses on. Oh my gosh. All right. So I have my glasses on now. I apologize, you guys. All right. So that makes a lot of sense. So there's the percent key. I kept putting it into scientific. Thank you so much, Charlotte. All right. So let's try that again. All right. So if I do 250 divided by 5, I get 50. And then if I put, let's see, if I hit percent, oh, it tells me that 50% is 0.5. That's interesting. Let's try that. What if I just put in 35 and I want it as a decimal? Oh, you guys see that? You see what's happening there? All right, so if you have a percent and you need to convert it to a decimal, then you can do, like, let's say it's 45.2%. You can put 45.2 and then percent, and it gives it to you in decimal form. All right, so literally, if you need the decimal for a percent, you just put the percent in. So if I asked you, what's the decimal for 23%? 23%. Pretty good. It's good stuff. How about 6%? 6%. That's the one that a lot of students miss, are the single digit percents. So if you forget that's what 6% is as a decimal, you can just put it in your calculator. All right, so now if, let's say we have a fraction, let's put the fraction in, but let's do it like division. So let me write it on the screen. Let's say we have 14 over 25, and I want to know what that is as a percent, right? 14 over 25. So let's see if this works. 14 divided by 25. And then let's go right to the percent. Yeah, that's right, 56%. That's pretty good. All right, let's try another one. Let's do, I don't know, 13 50ths. Let's convert that to a percent. So 13 divided by 50. I'm not going to hit equals. I'm just going to say, give that to me as a percent. No, that, oh, and then hit equals. 26%. That's correct. Pretty good. Let's see what happens if I hit equals in between. Let's see if it changes anything. Equals 0.26. No, can't do it that way. So if you have a fraction and you want to convert it to a percent, you have to put the fraction in, so 13 divided by 50, and go straight to the percent, and then hit equals. All right? So that's kind of what this ratio is saying. I guess they kind of said it in a weird way, but this is to convert a fraction to a percent. That's what we're doing here, fraction to a percent. All right, so now let's look at the add-ons and the discounts. So remember, when we did discounts, we would find the percent and then subtract it. So what this function does is it does that for you. So let's say there is a 7% tax on $150, right? So we're going to do 150 plus 7%. So 7% equals. All right, and did you see before I hit the equals, it told me what the 7% was? And then when I hit equals, it added it on for me. So watch that again. So 150 plus 7%. So now it found the 7% there. If it asks how much is the tax, that's how much the tax is. And then I hit equals and it adds it on. Woo. It's good stuff. We can do discounts the same way. So 5% discount of 250, you can see it down at the bottom. We'll just use that one. So 250 minus 5%. There's the 5% that it's going to take off, and then hit equals, and it actually takes it off. Pretty nice. I wish the state had told us that we were going to be able to use calculators back when we were doing this stuff. Because I would have taught you guys how to do it with the calculator way back when we were doing it. But that announcement didn't come until much later. All right. So I am going to make this available to you guys. I will put it either on the announcements page or I'll put it in the live lesson page. I'll put it somewhere where you can find it. All right, so now let's talk fractions and decimals, because that's the main advantage of using this calculator is fractions and decimals. Okay, so let's start with just fractions, like multiplying fractions, right? So let's say, like in the first example on the right side, let's say I want to do 3/4 times 3, right? That's the problem that they're showing over here on the right. So let me just write it. So 3/4 times 3 is what they're showing here. So the way that we're going to put that in is we're going to do 3, and then this is your fraction button, right? This one down here, right above the arrow. So 3, that button, and 4. And when you enter it, it's going to look like that, right? And then we're going to multiply that. I know the slash looks really weird. Then we're going to multiply that by 3. So times 3 equals. And we get this. Right? Now that also looks weird. The underscore means that it's separating a whole number from a fraction. So 2 underscore 1 with that little thing in the 4 means 2 and 1/4, right? 2 and 1/4. Now, there are other buttons on your calculator. If you look right above the fraction button, there's an improper fraction button, right? It blurs when I zoom in, but you guys see it? Right above the fraction button, there's an improper fraction button. And so if you hit that button, you have to press second to get to it, right? Second, and then your fraction button. Now it gives it to you as an improper fraction. And let's see if it'll go back again. If I want it as a mixed number. Oh, yes, I just have to do that second again. So second, we'll make it improper, and then second, we'll bring it back. All right, so second and the fraction button, and then second and the fraction button. Anyone else getting errors? Maybe try it again, Maddie. All right, so the second thing on this page is exponents. So we have 1/2 squared. So let's say we had to do that. We had to do 1/2 to the second power. So the way we do that is we're going to use our fraction button. So we're going to do 1/2. And then if you need to square something, you could do times 1/2, but a faster way to do it is to use this x squared button. So then I'm going to hit that, and it gives it to me as a decimal. Now, what if I want it as a fraction? Well, there's a button down here at the bottom, and on top of the arrow, it says F to D and D to F, like the arrows go back and forth. So let's try that out. If I hit second and I hit that button way at the bottom, oh, look at that. It's a fraction now. And then if I do it again, back to decimal. So the button I'm using for that is all the way at the bottom where it says F to D, D to F. So second and that arrow key gives me a fraction. Second and that arrow key puts it back into decimal. All right, let's do some, some simplifying. How about we simplify? So let's say I have the fraction, let's do 15/25. I want you to put that fraction into your calculator, 15 fraction button, 25, and then hit equals. It reduces it for you. Woo! That's helpful. And then if we wanted to turn that into a decimal, there it is. And then if we want to go back into fraction, there it is. All right. So far, so good, right? And then I think that's it, because the last two things we already talked about with the other problems. All right, so these are the functions that you will use the most. Oh, one other thing is how to use this negative button down here. So when you want to make something negative, you have to put the negative after the number. So if I'm multiplying, let's say, let's do a fraction. Let's do 3/5 times -2. If I need to do 3/5 times -2, try it on your calculator. I'm going to do it here, but I'm going to let you try it first. 3/5 times -2. Yes, good, Matthew. If you want, you can send it to me in the chat, but just to me, please. Yes, Charlotte. Watch your sign, not Charlotte, but the person who answered before Charlotte. I want to say your name, but watch your sign. Think about whether this should be positive or negative. But Matthew, you got it. Charlotte, you got it. Anyone else want to try? Yes, Gianna. Yes, Jasmine. Yeah, we're multiplying. 3/5 times -2. Try it on your calculator and see what you get. Yes, Olivia. Anyone else want to try? Send me your answer in the chat. Yes, Nasir. Yes, Isabella. All right, good, you guys. So I'm going to do it here for those of you who don't have the calculator. So you can see I'm going to do 3/5, right? So that's how it looks, times 2 negative. See how it popped that negative in front of the 2, even though I pressed it after the 2, and then hit equals. Now that's in mixed number form, but maybe I want it as an improper fraction. So second fraction will give me an improper fraction. And then second fraction to decimal will give it to me as a decimal. Right? So we good with fractions and decimals so far with the calculator? And like I said in the very beginning, just in case you missed it, the calculator that you're going to use on the testing platform, it does fractions. You can enter fractions. So you can use that calculator, but it's not going to give you the answer in fraction. Yeah, to switch it to a decimal, I'll just switch it back. So second, and it's this button down in the bottom left, that one. And then it changes it to a fraction. And then if I do it again, second, and this button down, the arrow, it changes it back. Yes, but you have to press second before the arrow because we want actually what's typed right on top of the arrow is what we want. All right, so are we good with, do you want to practice with percent? Well, actually, we're going to do some practice problems. So we're going to practice, I know my arm is actually kind of tired. Can you tell it's getting like more shaky? All right, so we are going to practice with we're going to do some practice problems. So I'm going to put this down for now. I'm going to keep it open though, because I'm going to still want that later. All right, so let's talk about your reference sheet and I will show you where to find all of this stuff. So this is what the front of your reference sheet is going to look like. You're going to be given every conversion you never wanted on this reference sheet. Like more conversions than you will absolutely use on the test for sure, but all bases are covered here. So I just wanted to remind you that when you're doing conversions, like a lot of times it's a question of, oh wait, am I supposed to multiply or divide, right? It's always multiply or divide, by the way. It's never add or subtract. So whenever we're converting, we're always either multiplying or dividing. And if you're not sure, just set up a conversion factor, that multiplication problem. So for example, if I wanted to know, let's say I wanted to convert 5 feet, or actually let's go backwards. Let's do like 140 inches into feet. If I wanted to do that conversion, right, I would write 140 inches over 1, and then I would find the conversion factor for inches to feet. One of those things has to go on the top, one of those things has to go on the bottom, right? So since inches are already on top, that means I'm going to put 12 inches on the bottom and 1 foot on the top. And after I multiply across, this becomes a division problem, right? Then I would just do 140 divided by 12. We don't have to find the exact answer. I'm more concerned with the setup right now. Is everyone good on that? So if you're not sure, like I know a lot of you learned in elementary school, like your teacher was like, okay, if it's getting bigger, then you divide. If it's getting smaller, then you multiply. But if that was never really set in stone in your brain, this is a way that you don't have to memorize anything. You don't have to rely on your memory. All you have to make sure you do is that you put 1 on top and 1 on the bottom so they cancel out, right? Because then inches would cancel out here and our final answer would just be in feet. Okay, so let's try one where you'd have to do 2 conversions. Let's do, oh, I know. Let's go to the next part of the reference sheet. So this is the bottom of the same page, right? It's not 3 pages long. This is the bottom of that same conversion that we just looked at page. Let's go from centimeters to inches to feet. How about that? So let's say we have 100 centimeters. And we want to know how many feet that is, right? So we would start out with 100 centimeters, and then I would find my conversion factor that has centimeters. It's right here. So that means I would put 2.54 centimeters on the bottom and 1 inch on top. And then I don't have it on this screen, but it's the one we just used. We know that 12 inches is 1 foot. So if you have it set up so that centimeters are on the top and the bottom and inches are on the top and the bottom, then all you have to do is multiply across and then do top divided by bottom, right? So if I multiply across, I get 100. On the bottom, 2.54 times 12 is 30.48. And then 100 divided by that is 3 point blah, 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 28 if I round. Right? And that would be feet. All right, so just a little reminder about conversions, but you will not use all of these conversion factors. Okay, so let's go to the other page. This is the back, or maybe it'll be the front when you get it, I don't know. It's one side of the reference sheet. So we talked about this a little bit before. If you have it in front of you, okay, so here's what's gonna happen. Let me back up. When you are in the room, you're gonna be sitting at your desks and they're going to say, okay, I'm now going to pass out the materials, right? You're gonna have to listen to the same script that you always have to listen to. I've read it probably like, I don't know, how long have I been teaching? 24 times I've read the script. It doesn't really change from year to year. So you'll listen to the instructions about how you have to, click here, make sure that's you. Okay, now I'm gonna distribute the materials. So all the materials will get passed out, right? You are not allowed to write on the reference sheet when you get it. Everyone understand that, right? You are not to write on anything until your test proctor says you may begin. When they say you may begin, the first thing I want you to do is write on your reference sheet, okay? Use that pencil, put it to work, pencil to paper, pencil to reference sheet. And these are the things that I want you to write. So what I'd like you to do for right now is maybe write it on a separate piece of paper because I want you to practice writing it on the reference sheet. Okay, but I want you to write it on paper first. Okay, so everyone have a piece of paper and a pencil. All right, so on your paper, I want you to write, because at the top here, we have parallelogram or rhombus, right? Is area equals base times height, area equals length times width. These formulas also work for rectangle. Right now, you're just writing on paper, okay? And square. So when you get your reference sheet, this is where you're going to write it. But right now, just write it on paper. Okay, so the first two things you're going to write on there are rectangle and square. The next thing you're going to write is the area of a triangle formula, right? So we can write that down here. So triangle is not on here. So you're going to write base times height divided by 2. All right, now let's talk circles. Up here for the circle formula where it says pi r squared, you guys know I hate when it's written like that. So I want you to rewrite it as r times pi. Trust me on that. There will be less mistakes if you use the formula written like that. So you're going to rewrite that as r times pi. And then the last thing that you're going to write, so far it's not bad, right? So far, that's definitely doable, right? I'm not asking you to memorize too much. Just add 2 words up there, rewrite the area formula, and write the triangle formula. Not bad so far. Here's the part that might take a little practice, okay? We're going to draw a net for a cylinder. All right, so a net for a cylinder looks like this. It has a circle, it has a rectangle, and it has another circle. All right, so everyone have a net on their paper? 2 circles. Yeah, it looks like a kind of like a big division sign. That's so true. I never thought of it like that. It does look like a big division sign. And then we're going to have to write a way that we can remember the surface area formula. Right now, this might be different for each of you, but this is the top and the bottom are just area of a circle, right? So the area for this top part is just r pi. Same thing for this bottom part. The area is just r pi. The area of the rectangle. Now remember what I'm talking about when I say this rectangle piece, right? So I'm going to use my paper towel here for a moment. So here's a rectangle. Oh, it's got water from my coffee. So here's a rectangle, right? If I curve this rectangle around, it makes a cylinder, right? This is the lateral area of the cylinder that we're talking about. So the top of the rectangle, see when I curve it, the top of the rectangle is the circumference of the circle. That's the top part. This part is the height, right? So that's this part is the height. So that's how we're going to label to find the area of the rectangle. It's going to be circumference times height. All right, now another way you could write this is maybe you could write it inside. Hold on. So this is r pi. This is r pi. And this area is circumference times height. If you don't remember the circumference formula, it's up here. Okay, so maybe that's better if we actually write it inside the figure. This is for surface area of a cylinder. All right, r pi, little tiny baby circles. And then ch. So the area of that rectangle, the lateral area, is circumference times height. It's okay, no worries. It's fine. Okay? This is everything I want you to write down. Not bad, right? Not bad. So as soon as you get your reference sheet, you're going to write rectangle square. You're going to rewrite the area of a circle as r pi. You're going to write the triangle formula, and then you're going to draw this net. And ch means circumference times height, right? You have the circumference. You can use either this formula or this formula for circumference, and then times height, right? Circumference times height, because this is going to be your height. It's going to be marked right there. And this is your circumference, right? So the length is the circumference, the width is the height. So we're going to multiply circumference times height to get the lateral area. Okay? And question, will I remind you? I cannot remind you. And neither can the person who's proctoring your exam. So even if I'm in the room with you, I can't say, remember, write down on your reference sheet, like the things that I told you to write down. I can't do that, not allowed. I have to stick to the script. And so does whoever is going to be testing with you. Okay? So you should have this on a separate piece of paper, right? Everyone has it on a separate piece of paper. So now I want everyone to practice. See how quick you can do it. See if you can, like, look at it. Try to see how much of it you can remember just right now, even after just seeing it. Oops, let me put it back. Right? Take a minute, study it for a minute. I think the hardest part is just the net at the bottom, right? So that's not too bad. So you're writing in rectangle and square because they have the same formulas. You're writing in the area of a circle differently. So you don't have to memorize that. You're just writing it differently. You're writing in the area of a triangle formula, and then you're writing in the net. This is to find the surface area of a cylinder. All right, so you could write that next to it so that you remember what it is. This is surface area of a cylinder. Surface area of a cylinder. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna get rid of all this, and I want everyone for the next minute. Don't look at your paper. Don't look, I mean, you can look at my screen. I'm gonna clear everything. Redo. Oops, undo. Okay, so I'm gonna clear everything. And I want you to practice right now. Make pretend that you just got that reference sheet and write on there what you need to write on there. All right, go. You may begin. On your paper. On your reference sheet. If you printed it out, if you have it in front of you, I want you to write it on your reference sheet. That's why I asked you to print it out. If you weren't able to print it, practice writing it on a piece of paper. And then everyone give me a thumbs up when you're done. You can use the little icon. Thank you, you guys. You don't have to rush necessarily. It's more important that it's correct, but you don't want to take all day on it either. Yes, thank you, Leah. Yes, Nasir? Oh. All right, everyone good? I didn't see a thumbs up from everyone, but I'm guessing maybe some of you don't have the reference sheet. Even if you don't have the reference sheet, if you wrote it down on your paper, just give me a thumbs up so that I know that you saw it and you did it and you have it down. All right. Thank you, guys. All right, so everyone understands that you are not to do this until your proctor says you may begin. So when you get that reference sheet in front of you, you have to just sit there and look at it until the person that's administering your exam says, you may begin. Then the first thing you do is you grab that pencil and you write on the reference sheet. Okay? Oh, not bad. If you forgot one thing, that's not bad. That just means a little more practice. Yes, exactly. Take the time to remember what it is you're going to write while you're waiting. Like visualize it on the reference sheet while you're waiting. And then when they say you may begin, then write that stuff down on your reference sheet. Okay? I really hope you guys do that because it was killing me last year. Can I just tell you? I have to just, okay, story time just for a moment. It was killing me last year. It kills me every year because every year there's at least a handful of students who don't even look at the reference sheet. And I'm in there proctoring and I can't say like, remember, you guys, you have a reference sheet. Remember, look at the reference sheet. And I would walk right by and I would see questions that I know they needed that reference sheet for. And it's just tucked underneath the scrap paper and underneath like, you're killing me. Please use your reference sheet. Have it out. And then write those things on it right away. Okay, everyone, pinky promise me? Yes? All right, everyone, turn on your cameras right now. Turn on your cameras right now and pinky promise me. Everyone, everyone, everyone. Come on, come on, come on. 100%. 100% participation on this. Let's go, let's go. You're pinky promising me. When your proctor, when your test proctor says you may begin, you are going to write this stuff down on your reference sheet. And then you are going to use the reference sheet while you take your test. Yes? Promise? Yes? Hold on. Let me just go to the other screen so I can see everybody. Okay. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, guys. That counts as your attendance too. So you can turn off your cameras now if you want. Thank you. Okay, so we're done with that part. So now let's do some practice problems with the rest of the time that we've got. So let me share my screen. And where I'm going to get to these practice problems, you guys have access to it too. Just saying. And I'm not going to name any names, but literally only one person has tried this practice test. So to get to these practice materials, just to remind you, you log into Clever and you click on Savvis, right? And when you click on Savvis, you should see your math class in there. And then when you click on assignments, you should see a whole bunch of assignments. Now, I didn't require you to do any of them, but I put them all in there so that you could look at your PM2 results, figure out where you need to practice, and then come in here and practice. And I do want to say I did see a few other students who did some of the assignments to practice. Again, I'm not going to name names, but I know who you are. So that's really good that you were in there and you were like looking at the areas that you know you need practice on and you were in there practicing. This is one of, I think I put like 5 practice tests in there. So if you know, are bored and decide, hey, I'm going to practice for my FAST test, there's lots of material in there to practice with, okay? All right. Okay, so this one, if you go, you can do it on yours if you want to do it along with me. You can like do it on your screen, like you can log into Clever. Why don't you guys do that? Open up a separate tab and log into Clever, and then go to Savvis. And then anyone want to share their screen so we can see it from a student viewpoint? All right, Ash, go ahead. No, I think it's the same every time, but that's why I put a bunch in there. Oh, I have to stop sharing, right? So that you can share. It's taking a little while to come up. But it says that you started screen sharing. I just can't see anything yet. Yeah, there's probably a delay. Oh, all right. Ash says their screen is frozen. Of course, right? All right, so I'm going to take back the share. Yeah, go ahead, Maddie. Let's see if it'll let you take over. Yeah, it looks like it just fixed. All right, so go to Savvis. So where is it? Go down, or you can search it maybe, SAVV. SAVV. Oh, okay. Oh, it took you there. Great. And then you click on that. Everyone see that first link? You're going to have two links underneath math. You want to click on the first one, the Envision. And then when you get here, hold on, Maddie. When you get here, see at the bottom it says View All. Click on View All. You can click on it now. This is what we talked about in the last academic seminar. Remember I told you all this stuff is in here? So what we're doing today is practice test form B. And of course, we're not going to get through all 40 questions. We're going to get through a bunch though. So click on 40 question practice test form B. And then you'll click on that to start. And then we'll pause here and make sure everyone's with us. Yeah, the rest of the time, we're just going to be doing practice problems. So it's okay. All right, so
Is it
Isabella?
oh is it the one that says like 40 questions?
Yes, and it's form B.
Okay.
Yeah, 40 question practice test form B. Okay. Yeah, that's probably why it froze, right? Yeah. Okay, so now I'm going to take back over. Everyone good with how to get here? Savvis? Assignments, view all? Okay. All right, so let's start. So you should be able to start on your screen too. So I'm going to do this kind of like we do with Kahoot. I'm going to set a timer and give you, I don't know, 2 minutes and then go over it.
Miss Vargas,
Yes.
my Clever doesn't work.
Oh. All right, we'll have to figure that out.
Sorry,
All right,
Ms.
you can
Marcus,
you can follow along Like you can do the problem on paper, and if you want to answer it in the chat just to me, we can do it that way. Okay.
Sorry, Miss Vargas.
Yes.
Which one are we doing again?
We're doing the 40 question practice test, Form B.
I see problem solving with ratio and proportion, volume of cylinders, and one-step inequalities.
Click
Is
View All,
I'll view all.
and then
Okay.
you might have to scroll.
It's
For
loading.
Maddie, it was right at the top, but for me, it was all the way at the bottom. It should say 40 question practice test, Form B.
Hold on. Let me see. Okay, I found it. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Oh, Ethan, this one's for you. What are you doing hiking down in that canyon, Ethan? All right, 15 seconds. All right, so he starts at the rim and hikes down 65 feet in 3¼ minutes. If he continues, where will he be after 20 minutes, right, in relation to the rim? So I would set up a proportion for this, because if he's going to hike 65 feet in 3¼ minutes, and I want to know how many feet he's going to hike in 20 minutes, I would just set it up like that. And then I would do butterfly method, right? I would multiply these two and then divide by this. So this becomes a calculator problem. So now here I go with my calculator again. Oh, you guys, I can't, oh, wait, can you see me? No, you can't see it. Oh yeah, you can. Okay. All right, so let me get my hand in position. Okay, so on my calculator, I would do 65 times 20 first and get that cross product, right? And then I would divide that by 3¼ So divided by 3¼ right? I put it in like a mixed number, equals 400. Are we good with that one? So to write 3¼ on the calculator, you have to press this button twice in between. So you have to do 3 fraction button, 1 fraction button, 4. All right. Okay. All right. So let me put in the answer so that I can keep going. All right. Here's the next one. Let me clear everything and start the timer. Here's a big hint right here. Yes, Victor.
When does this live lesson end? Because I have a DBA soon.
At noon.
When?
Noon? 12 o'clock?
Okay.
The first one was 400. Yes, Lael. Nice. If you want to give me your answer in the chat, just to me, of course. If you're waiting for the time. Oh, actually, there it is. Okay, so for this one, I would set this up kind of the same way. I would say, since I want to know miles per hour, how many miles does she go in an hour, right? So I would do a half a mile in 3 3/4 minutes equals how many miles in 60 minutes, right? That's what I want to know, how many miles per hour. So how many miles in 60 minutes, right? So you could do this butterfly method, or you could do it like, 3 3/4 times what is 60 and multiply by that same thing on top. Either way, you'll get the same answer. Remember when we did that way back in proportions? So I'm going to use butterfly method. So I'm going to multiply these two, and then I'm going to divide by this. So let me hold up my camera for my calculator. So I'm going to do 60 times a half. Well, that's 30, but I'll do it anyway. 60 times 1/2, right, equals. And then I'm going to divide that by 3 3/4. And I get 8. Yes, I got 60 because it's minutes. Right? So I probably should have put this so you guys could see this is miles, this is minutes, and this is minutes, and this is miles. So I'm looking for how many miles in 60 minutes in order to get miles per hour. All right. So we're good there. And I'm going to start the timer. Our time goes by so fast, you guys. I feel like we just started and we're almost done. Oh, we could use the percent function for this. Figure I'd save myself some time and write that in. So I haven't done the problem, but everyone that's messaged me in the chat has gotten the same thing. So I'm going to go with that's probably correct. But I'm going to do it right now. All right, there's our timer. So I can find 55% of 80 using my calculator. So I can do 80 times 55 second 2%, and it tells me 55% is a decimal, and then equals 44. All right, and then I'm going to use the same sequence of keys, but I'm going to put a 50 here and a 98 here, right? So then I'm going to do 50 times, see it right? Oh, there we go. Times 98% equals 49. So yes, the answer would be 5. Well done, you guys. Maddie was just pointing out that the average score was 4%. That's because only one person did it and he didn't really finish it. Oh, I'm looking in the chat. Everyone who has answered me so far in the chat is correct. I got Charlotte, Gianna, Christopher. Yes. And there goes our timer. All right, so we've got 2.5 gallons going in per minute. So we'll multiply 2.5 times 12 minutes. Now, if you're not sure that this should be a multiplication problem, again, you can use conversion factors, right? Because if we start off with 12 minutes and we know that 1 minute is 2.5 gallons of water, that's another way that you could see, oh, I have to multiply, right? Just in case you weren't sure, should I multiply or divide? All right, so 2.5 times 12 is what? 24 plus 6 is 30. And so if we started out with 18.5 and we add 30 to that, then we get 48.5. All right, good job, guys. We have some data. And those are our options: bar chart, line plot, histogram, stem and leaf. So let me write them here for those of you who can't get into Clever. Bar chart, histogram. Oh, I forgot to start the timer on this one. Line plot, stem and leaf. I'll just do it like that. All right, everyone think they know what the answer for this one is? This one should be super fresh in your brains. Yes, good, Maddie. Anyone else want to answer in the messaging? Yes, Olivia. It is not a histogram. I'll give you a hint. This is categorical data. Yes, Charlotte, Ash, Lael, yes. This should be a bar chart. This is the only one out of the 4 that is for categorical data, right? Goodness here. Each person would be a bar, right? You'd have a Mia bar, a Marco bar, a Janine bar, and a Mel bar. Mel bar. All right, so there is a part B for this question. Which one of the circle graphs is an appropriate graphical representation? So notice the circle graphs all kind of look the same, right? So we've got Mia. I'm going to write it on the screen so that we can see it when we scroll down. Mia is 195. Marco is 280. Oh no. Oh no, you guys. It's trying to tell me something. What? Go back. No. Let me go back to Savas. Is this just me or did this happen to you guys too? Just you. Okay, so it's just me. At least it's not a district-wide thing. That's better actually. All right, so let me go back in. Stop sharing real quick. Yeah. Oh, actually, let me go back. All right, so this will probably be our last problem that we'll do together. Just because it's almost noon. Okay, let me share my screen with you again. And let me get to the right question. Okay, so here's where we are. All right, I almost had them all written too. All right, so Mia is 195. Marco is 280. Janine, I'm just going to put Jean, is 235. And Mel is 165. Okie dokie. So we know it's going to be a bar chart. And then let's find the circle graph that would match the data. So we've got A, B, C, and D. You should be able to narrow it down pretty quickly just using the fact that Marco is the greatest, right? Right, so right away, it's either A or B, right? So now we have to determine which one of these it is. So Mel and Mia look pretty close together in both of them. Let's figure out some percents. Yeah, so the question was just it just gave these numbers in a table and then asked which data display is most appropriate. So we decided it was bar chart. And now for part B, it says which circle graph is appropriate. So we know that it can't be C or D because in these two, this one, Marco and Janine are the same. And that's definitely not what the data says. And in this one, Janine has more than Marco, and Marco and Mia are the same. And that's definitely not what the data says. So it's got to either be A or B, because in both of these, Marco has the biggest percent. So let's figure it out for sure. So let's get a total. So I'm not going to show you guys me doing this on the calculator, but I'm going to add these numbers together. 195 and 280 and 235 and 165. I got 875. All right, so now let's put the calculator into practice. If I want to know, like what we just learned on the calculator, if I want to know, so Marco, let's say, is 280 out of 875. I want to know what percent that is. I can go to decimal and then to percent, or I can have my calculator tell me the percent, right? So I'm going to do 280 divided by 875. Then I'm going to hit second, and then I'm going to hit percent, and then equals. So Marco is 32%. So it's got to be B. All right, I don't even need to do the rest. The other way you could do it, if you don't want to use the percent function that way on the calculator, is you could do 280 divided by 875. Remember, you guys, fraction bar means divide. And you get that, and that is 32 hundredths, which is 32%. Okay, so you don't have to use the percent feature on the calculator, but you can. All right, remember, fraction bar means divide. Fraction bar means divide. Fraction bar means divide. You've probably heard me say it like 100 times this year. Fraction bar means divide. Don't forget that. All right, yes, Nasir?
You could also just see which one has Mel being lower.
Oh, because Mel is, oh, on part, good spotting, Nasir. In choice A, Mel is not the smallest amount. Very good. And Mel was the smallest amount in our data. So that would, this, her not being this, or he not being the smallest amount would eliminate choice A. Yeah, very good. All right, so you saw that you can get out of this and come back in, right? So if you don't have time to finish this right now, I can see 15 of you are doing it with me. If you don't have time to finish it right now, that's okay. If you have some time to finish working on this and doing these practice problems, finish it, right? It's just extra practice. I'm not going to require you to do it because you have a lot and you know, you already have a lot to do in your other classes and you have your math test on Monday, but I think it's a good idea for you to do it so that way, if you come across any problems that you don't understand, take a picture of them and text them to me. Because there was one question in here, actually, let me see if I can just get to it really quickly, where I was like, it was like if you had something like 5 to the 7th over 5 to the 5th. Now, you wouldn't work this out on your calculator. You wouldn't do 5 to the 7th power divided by 5 to the 5th power. Although, let's see if you could. So will my calculator do that? If I do 5, this is my exponent button right here. Everyone see it, the y to the x? So 5 to the 7th divided by 5 to the 5th equals 25. All right, so I guess you could. But if you had something like this, these were the exponent rules where we would have 7 on top and then 5 on the bottom, remember? And then anytime you have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you know, anytime you have 5 divided by itself, it's equal to 1. So this is 1, 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 and it leaves you with 5 times 5. A really quick way to do that is to use the exponent rules, which means we would subtract 7 minus 5 would equal 5 to the second power, which is also 5 times 5, which is also 25. So I just saw, like, I think it was just that one question about the exponent rules. So I just wanted to remind you guys. We also had exponent rules for when we multiplied, like we did 2 to the 4th times 2 to the 10th. We didn't actually do it. We would just say that it's 2 to the 14th because we would have 4 2s and then 10 2s. So altogether we would have 14 2s. Those were our exponent rules. And I believe we also did the 0 power. So last thing I'm going to say, anything to the 0, any number to the 0 is 1. Always. 50 to the 0 is 1. Negative 500 to the 0 is 1. Any number to the 0 is 1. So we could even just write it like this. All right. Yeah, evidently this does not want to work with me today, so I'm going to stop here. But you guys can keep going with this practice test. And how about we do this? If you finish the practice test and you send me a picture showing that you completed it, I will give you extra credit. But you can't just go through and pick anything and fail it. Like, you have to have like a score that shows me that you tried. I'm not saying I'm looking for an A, but you have to have something that shows me that you tried. If you send me evidence of completing the practice test, like honestly completing it, like really trying your best, I will turn it into extra credit on one of your tests. Okay? Good? All right, everyone. I'll see you in person on Monday. Woo! I'm so excited. I wonder which room I'll be in.
Bye.
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 Bye.